Hey guys, how you doing? Hopefully you're doing okay. I'm going to give you a very thorough overview of the article here. There's a link in the description. If you appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit. I did cover this topic in a live stream a couple of days ago. If you'd like to watch more live streams, please remember to press the notification bell and jump in, join the live streams whenever you're able to. That would be great. I need also to give you a trigger warning. This involves the murder of a 2-month-old baby boy. His name is Grayson. 2-month-old baby boy Grayson. This happened October the 17th in Texas. The scumbag that you see in front of you is the father, 34-year-old Moises Rodriguez. He's been arrested for allegedly beating 2-month-old Grayson, his own son, beating him to death. So he is in custody, but I'm going to tell you that I'm not happy with Texas at the moment. He has a $125,000 bond. Judge, what the F are you doing? He's the prime suspect in relation to the murder of a 2-month-old boy, his own son. And the judge is allowing a ridiculously low bond, $125,000. That means, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, he might have 12.5. He might have 10% of that amount, which would be all that is required to secure his freedom on a temporary basis, but allow him to walk out of jail up until the trial. Yeah, if he comes up with 10% of that amount, $12,500, he's allowed to walk free for the time being. Not good enough, Texas. Not effing good enough. If he's the prime suspect in a child murder case, you lock him up. Well done for arresting this guy. Well done for having this guy in custody. But you do not allow him to have a get out of jail card. You just don't allow that. If you're going to give him a bond, make it very high, such that it's going to be virtually impossible for him to get out. Why would you want a prime suspect in a child murder case to be walking the streets? Why would you want that? How does that benefit society? Do you believe as a society, as a community, we owe this guy some rights? Is that what you think? Well, he's getting some rights. He's in custody. He'll be under protective care. Yeah? And he'll have access to lawyers, even if he can't afford a lawyer. He'll have access, a state-funded lawyer will be provided to him. He's been given these rights, or rather these rights are being respected and looked after. What about the rights of the community? What about the rights of the family? What about the rights of the mother that wouldn't want this scumbag walking the streets? So as far as I understand, he is in custody, but in my mind, a bond of $125,000 is way too low, Texas. If somebody pays 10% of that amount, perhaps he's got 12.5 grand in the bank. Perhaps his friend does. You know, it's too easy for him to get out. In any case, I'm going to finish that rant and we'll get back to the details. So he's been arrested for allegedly beating his 2-month-old son Grayson to death earlier this month, October the 17th. In addition to that, he's been charged with 1 count of intentional injury to a child causing serious bodily injury. Again, in relation to the injuries suffered by his 2-month-old son Grayson. So I'm going to give you an overview as to what happened. Essentially, the father brought his 2-month-old son, Grayson, to the hospital. The baby boy was not breathing. That's what the article says. It doesn't say that he was having trouble breathing. It says that the baby was not breathing at the point that he was taken to the hospital. In addition, the medical staff immediately identified that 2-month-old Grayson, the baby boy, had bruising on his chest. Okay, so he was not breathing. He had bruising on his chest. Shortly after arriving in the facility, he was pronounced dead. Now, My interpretation is that, he was pronounced dead basically immediately. They perhaps have a protocol that they have to go through, a process, which they did. But in effect, if he's not breathing, then they would have identified immediately that he was indeed dead, I believe. The father was talking with the authorities, the police. He said that he was looking after Grayson alone. The mother went to the gym, so he was looking after baby Grayson. He was multitasking. He was doing this, he was doing that, he was doing the housework, he was doing the cooking, he was doing all kinds of things. And then, whoopsie-daisy, forgive my facetiousness, whoopsie-daisy, he says he dropped Grayson. He was carrying Grayson. The father dropped Grayson, according to his initial statement. Grayson fell on the hardwood floor, apparently, 3 or 4 foot before landing on his face when he hit the ground. That's the story that the father has given. So apparently the father attempted to give CPR to Grayson. Apparently the father called the mother, let the mother know that Grayson was injured. The mother rushed home and immediately took Grayson to the hospital. So I believe the mother and the father took Grayson to the hospital together. And the medical staff didn't immediately identify that Grayson had passed due to suffering child abuse. In the first instance, medical staff presumed that the bruising on Grayson's chest was due to the father's attempt at CPR. However, a thorough autopsy did take place, and that confirmed that Grayson's internal injuries were severe. It was determined that Grayson's cause of death was blunt force trauma to the chest, and this caused a lacerated heart. I'm not a doctor. I've not Googled what lacerated heart is. Perhaps I should have done. But I'm going to take it that means obviously severe damage to the heart. I would think it means some kind of like internal dislocation. Would that be the right term? Like a laceration normally means like a cut, doesn't it? Probably has a slightly definition to a cut. But essentially a tearing, probably that's more like it, a tearing within the heart. Grayson had a lacerated heart caused by blunt force trauma to the chest. In addition, the medical examiners confirmed that Grayson had multiple broken ribs. In even worse, the multiple broken ribs were in various stages of healing. Why is that even worse? Well, because it essentially means, you could say confirms. Perhaps you can't quite say confirms, but it's a very, very strong indicator that the child in question, 2-month-old Grayson, suffered ongoing abuse. Multiple injuries caused throughout his life. 2 months of age. I mean, that just like really angers me and sickens me. A 2-month-old boy, and he's already gone through multiple physical attacks made upon him, such that he suffered severe injuries. Multiple broken ribs in various stages of healing. How many times was he severely attacked? How many fucking times? He died at the age of 2 months. So, like, when did these other injuries happen? When did these other attacks occur? How old was he then? Weeks old. Perhaps less than a month old. I mean, it just boggles the mind why anybody would attack a child in this kind of way. It just is absolutely sickening. And allegedly that's what this scumbag did. Again, the father, Moises Rodriguez, arrested in regards to the attack, the beating of his own son to death. What a fucking scumbag. So, essentially, the medical examiners were able to tell the police, hey, police, this guy over here, he says that he accidentally dropped Grayson when he was doing the dishes. He was doing this, he was doing that. It was an accident. Don't believe him. He's full of shit. The autopsy says otherwise. The autopsy says that Grayson had multiple broken ribs that were in various stages of healing. And further, that Grayson died due to a lacerated heart. Blunt force trauma to the chest. Would not have been caused from being dropped. So that's pretty much all the information that we have at this point. This scumbag is in custody as far as we know, but I'm not happy with the bond. $125,000. Fuck that. Texas, what are you doing? He faces up to life in prison. Hang on, Texas, don't you have the death penalty? Why wouldn't he be facing the death penalty if he's convicted? I would give him the death penalty. I probably wouldn't even wait anyway. Shouldn't say those kind of things. I'm going to wrap things up at this point, guys. If you've stuck around this far, you're an absolute legend. Please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit. I will be doing regular live streams. It looks like I've got back into the swing of doing that. And hopefully I'll improve those live streams as I move forward. I'm going through a lot of articles in those live streams that have happened the same day. And then I'm hoping from there, some of the articles I'll make standalone videos on. But I would like to see how the live streams develop. I'd like to do more than just read through articles. I want to interact with you guys, and probably more so have you guys interact with each other. So I'd like to figure out how to do that. I'll probably start doing panels, invite a few people up. Doesn't have to be anything grand, but for a quick hello, or to express your feelings about a certain case. Maybe you'll become a regular panelist, maybe you won't. But I'd like to carry on with the live stream. So if you do appreciate the coverage, ensure that you're subscribed and that you check out the live streams as and when. And if you're happy to promote this channel by sharing the video, that would be awesome. But I'm going to wrap things up here. But I will also say, if you do get upset by these videos, then take a break. Take a break. You can unsubscribe. It's perfectly fine. You can unsubscribe. You don't have to stick around. You don't have to go through these videos. Don't watch too many of them. I mean this with all sincerity. Okay, so these topics, they're important and they have value and there's a sobering aspect to them. But obviously there's a real darkness and unhappiness surrounding these topics. So if you get brought too down, if you're not able to cope with that brilliantly, sometimes I'm not, I've taken several breaks because I just don't want to go over these topics, and I lose my sense of joy, my joie de vivre, my joy of life slips away when I cover too many of these topics. Having said that, I'm coping pretty well. I'm pretty stoic as a person, and I'm able to go over these topics and then stop thinking about them for the most part. Anyway, I'm rambling at this point, so I'm going to wrap things up. Take care.